If you're someone with ADHD, it's tough to manage time because our brains don't seem to be so good at estimating how long things are going to take, and we sometimes don't think of breaking down the various steps of getting somewhere. As a result, we're very often late leaving the house, late getting there altogether. We just don't think of some of the steps in between. If being on time for you is a struggle, don't worry. Today I'm going to give you some quick, simple strategies that you can learn and not break a sweat. Let's imagine you have to catch a plane, and your plane is taking off at 5 o'clock. What time would you have to leave the house? Well, if you look at 5 o'clock, that's not what we should be looking at all. Because what you need to care about is what time that plane is boarding. So a plane taking off at 5 is probably going to be boarding around 4:30. So let's consider working backwards from 4:30. If you're boarding at 4:30, but you've got to get to the gate. Now, depending on the size of the airport you're in, something like New York's LaGuardia, Chicago's O'Hare Airport, you might have a long walk to that gate, or you might have to wait for a little tram even to go to another terminal to get to that gate. So let's just say 20 minutes. If it takes 20 minutes to get to the gate, moving back from 4:30, that gets us to, so far, 4:10. Now let's continue thinking backwards. Before you can start getting to your gate, you have to get through security. Security could take 30 minutes. Let's put a 30. And that gets us back to 3:40. And again, depends on the size of the airport, but sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen in security. Before you can even get to security, you have to check in. You might have bags. That might take longer. There might be a long line of people checking in. So let's say 20 minutes, but it could be longer. If it's 20 minutes, we're getting back now, 3:20. Before you can even check in, you have to get to the terminal. Depending where you're coming from, if you're coming from a parking lot, easily 20 minutes. I grew up in Chicago. Sometimes it might even take 30 minutes to get to that terminal because you'd have to park in a far lot and wait for the shuttle bus to take you to the terminal. But let's say 20, 3 o'clock. Now, if you did drive, you've got to get rid of your car. So that's parking. Let's say maybe parking 20 minutes. So now we're down at 2:40. Finally, we can think about getting there. How long will it take you to get there? And don't consider the best case. Consider maybe there was an accident on the highway. Maybe you've got to think about, is it rush hour? 5 o'clock, it's getting kind of close to rush hour. So let's say an hour. That has gotten you back to 1:40. So we started, if you remember, 5 o'clock plane. We figured out you got to leave at 1:40. So this is the time you must leave your house. The latest, 1:40. For a 5 o'clock plane. Now you may think that can't possibly be right. Between 1:40 and 5 o'clock, it's about 2.5 hours. But remember, 5 o'clock isn't relevant to you. It's the boarding time that matters, 4:30. And that's why those airports a lot of times will still say, get to the airport 2 hours early. Because getting to the airport only might get you to the terminal. And you've got all those other steps to consider. Now, of course, this doesn't apply just to getting to the airport. You could use a strategy like this for getting to any appointment, getting to work on time, getting to an interview. What are your experiences in being late? Leave a comment if you frequently are running behind or if you have a good strategy for showing up on time. And if this was helpful, leave a like or a subscribe. I really would love to know your situation, your experiences, and whatever else you would like me to talk about. It's Bonnie Minku, Thrive with ADD, and I will see you next time.